Imagine this. You wake up one day and your name no longer exists. You are here, you breathe, you remember, but on paper, you are nothing. Your portraits have been burned, taken down from the walls, turned into ash. Your statues have been toppled, their faces smashed, their names erased from the stone. Every document about you is destroyed. Letters, decrees, signatures, as if your hands had never touched a pen. You lived, but in history, you never existed. Your memory was erased on purpose. A blank space was left where your life used to be. No one says your name. No one shows your image. Even remembering your voice is considered dangerous. An entire empire moved just to make the world forget you. Your name was removed from schools. Your images vanished from textbooks. Pages were torn from the archives. This video is the story of a person like that, whose name was forbidden, whose image was erased, whose memory was destroyed, and yet they refused to be silent. Because some people can be erased from stone, but not from memory. Their stories hide like fire beneath ashes, and the first breath of air makes them burn again. This is the story of one such life. They tried to erase this person, but they could not erase the questions left behind. And now we will not speak only the name. We will tell the story that was meant to disappear forever. In history, there was a punishment that did not simply kill a person. It did something far worse. It erased them from memory. In ancient Rome, this punishment had a Latin name, Damnatio Memoriae, meaning the condemnation of memory. What happened to someone who received it? They were not only imprisoned, they were not only executed, they were removed from history, step by step, piece by piece. First, their name was scraped off stone inscriptions. Their faces were chiseled off statues and reliefs. Their portraits were destroyed or burned. Coins bearing their image were melted down. Official documents mentioning them were destroyed. Pages were literally torn out of archives. It was as if they had never lived at all. Speaking their name became dangerous. Their name was not mentioned in public, not taught in schools, not written in new histories. Because the goal was clear, not just to kill the body, but to kill the memory. Ancient rulers understood one thing very well. As long as someone is remembered, they still live. So who received this punishment? Overthrown emperors, political rivals, people accused of treason, or simply those who became inconvenient. Sometimes criminals, sometimes just people who were in the wrong place at the wrong time. The most terrifying part? Many of them were killed twice, once physically and then a second time, in history. But here lies the paradox. Those who were erased often became even more famous, because everywhere one question appeared. Whose name was scratched away? Who did they try so hard to hide? Historians looked at blank spaces on stone, at broken statues, at missing pages. And in those empty places, they could almost hear the silenced names. So the people condemned to oblivion did not truly disappear. Instead, they entered history as the ones they tried to erase. Damnatio Memoriae teaches us something powerful. Thrones, armies, and laws are strong, but memory is stronger. You can erase a name from stone, but erasing it from the human mind is almost impossible. So, who was he? A man pushed to the edge of history, yet once standing at the very center of an empire. Some called him a traitor. Others believed he was punished simply for speaking the truth too loudly. He was not an ordinary man, not a minor official. He rose all the way to the shadow of the throne. His voice echoed through palace halls. His decisions shaped people's lives. Maybe he was loved. Maybe he was feared. But one day his very name became dangerous. In a single night, those who once called him friend went silent, and those who called him enemy grew powerful. A decision was made. This man must not have existed. His name was cut from stone, his image destroyed, his memory forbidden. But did he truly disappear? No, because what made him unforgettable was not the power he held. It was the silence built around him. They tried to erase him, but instead, they turned him into a question that refuses to die. Who was the man they feared so much? The erasure did not happen in a single day, but it began in one morning. At dawn, the orders spread across the empire. Stonecutters were summoned. They were told only one simple sentence: correct this name. But everyone understood that correct really meant erase. Letter by letter, his name was carved out of stone inscriptions, as if it had never been there at all. In the painters' workshops, the finest brushes were useless. Fire did the work instead. Portraits were thrown into flames. Faces melted in the glow. Frames remained empty. Sculptors received a different order. The statue stays. The face does not. So the heads of statues were struck off, replaced by rough blocks of stone. On coins, his image was scratched away, and new money appeared to replace the old. In the archives, another silent war was taking place. Documents vanished. Pages were torn out. Lines containing his name were crossed through in ink. And the most terrifying part? He was erased from people's speech as well. Saying his name was forbidden. It was not taught to children. Poets were ordered never to write of him. After a while, even in people's minds, a blank space formed where his name used to be. History erased him not once, but many times. From stone, from paper, from coins, and finally, from memory. Yet every erased mark left behind a bigger question. Whose name was hidden here? And so, the very people who tried to erase him ended up creating his strongest memorial, a silence that refuses to disappear. So why were empires not satisfied with simply killing a person? Why did they also try to kill the name? The answer is simple. Rulers understood very well that killing the body removes a person, but killing the memory removes an idea. And what they feared most was not the man himself, but the memory of him. Because a remembered person can become a symbol of resistance, of rebellion, of truth that refused to die. A name, a story, a memory can sometimes be more dangerous than an entire army. So empires believed, if we erase the name, the person will disappear. Who were the ones erased? Overthrown rulers, rivals to the throne, exiled princes and princesses, philosophers who spoke too loudly, leaders loved by the people, anyone who seemed too powerful. Sometimes they were guilty. Sometimes their only crime was simply existing in the wrong moment. Because for empires, the most dangerous person is not the one who seeks power. It is the one who lives on in memory. That is why stones were scraped clean, portraits were burned, pages were torn from books. They truly believed, if the name does not exist, the person does not exist. But history taught them a different lesson. The erased names did not vanish. Instead, they became louder. Every destroyed statue, every blank space on stone, whispered the same question. Who was hidden here? Empires tried to force forgetting, but in doing so, they made remembering unavoidable. Did he really disappear? Those who wanted to erase him achieved many things. They scraped his name from stone, they erased his face from statues, they burned his portraits, they removed his traces from documents. The name once spoken aloud was no longer even whispered. Children did not learn about him. Textbooks did not show him. Official history refused to acknowledge him. On paper, he truly was gone. But history is strange. Sometimes the ones erased from paper shine even brighter in memory. Some people who knew him stayed silent, but some did not. Some wrote his name in hidden letters. Some recognized his scratched-off face on old coins. Some read the shadow of his name on half-erased walls. So he vanished from official history, but remained alive in unofficial memory. Stories began with words like, "I cannot say his name, but he was once here." Those who tried to erase him ended up helping to preserve him. Because in every empty pedestal, every damaged inscription, every torn page, the same question stood, who was here? And that question became stronger than the name itself. Yes, he disappeared from lists and records. Yes, the state declared him non-existent, but he did not vanish completely. He simply lived on in another form, not in textbooks and memory, in whispers, in the silence that fear created. Those who tried to erase him failed at one final thing. They could not erase the memory of him. Names can be erased, but stories hide in the dark. And one day they returned to the light. They tried to erase him, his name from stone, his face from history, his memory from the world. But they failed, because sometimes a name can be erased, but a story, never.